So let's talk about Josh Kroenke. There's a matter of Arsenal fans feeling a little bit humbled, wouldn't you say? Now, there's a lot of things to cover off the fact that he's talked about they were not responding to fans. And I've been saying this for a long time, that these guys know what they're doing. Raul Sali had a long record, 14 years at Barcelona, of turning them into European giants. He's here at Arsenal now. That gives us one of the best positions in the world as far as football goes, with bringing in clout. He's managed to negotiate deals and bring players here that have turned down Champions League football, the likes of Pepe, the likes of David Luiz. These guys were on teams that were playing in the Champions League this season, and he's managed to get them to come to Arsenal. Do you remember when Arsenal used to be that team that nobody wanted to go to because they didn't pay the wages, or because they had no ambition, and they saw the likes of Henry, Vieira, Fabregas, Van Persie leave the club? This was almost a club for graveyard of players when you look at the Silvestri types that used to come in here when they were old and mash up and washed up, and great finds that we had coming through. You put that on Wenger. Wenger was good at what he did. But the fact of the matter is Josh Kroenke is as much as an Arsenal fan than you and me. Football is his favourite game. He's a big football fan. He loves it more than anything else. He played it at, when he was younger. I'm going to set the record straight in terms of American and England perception in terms of football. You guys take the mick out of Americans because they call it soccer. Guess who told them to name it soccer? It was us. Now, the second thing is, when I go to America, which is a lot every year, I speak to a lot of Americans about sports, and they love football. So it stands to reason why Josh Kroenke is such a huge fan. Now, Stan Kroenke, for all of his merits, is what it is. He's been built up by the media to be this Ebenezer Scrooge. He's been built up to be this person who doesn't care, and maybe he doesn't. But the fact of the matter is, the person who was put in charge in January 2018 was his son. He sent Josh Kroenke over here for 4 months to find out what was working and what wasn't working with the club. After that time, he went back to his father and he said everything that he needed to say with all the changes that needed to be made with the club. There were massively wholesale changes, more than what we think that they are. According to Josh Kroenke, there's 50 new staff at Arsenal right now. 50. That goes way beyond the expectations that we thought. This is not the same Arsenal, guys. This is not by any chance anywhere near remotely the same team as before. And he goes on talking about waking up at 4:30 in the morning to watch Arsenal play. Now, a lot of UK guys, especially on Facebook, there's all this budding joke, because you guys know I'm a hardened Washington Redskins fan, and I watch Monday night football games. I'm up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning watching NBA games as well. And some would call me a hardcore hardened fan. Now, I understand what it takes to have that passion, to stay up all the hours of the night to watch your team play. And the fact that Josh is doing that speaks volumes for me. It really does. It shows you the passion the guy has for the club, and he wants to win and he wants to be successful. And I'm not worried about the 40 million thing. I've taken the piss out of the fan base for months because of that. You all got sucked in and you all believe the hype. But this is about one thing and one thing only. It's about arithmetic. It's math. If you do the math, you will know yourself straight off the bat that Arsenal did not have 40 million to spend. And not just that, but this has always been a club. I remember when we bought Ramsey, and this was a long time ago, and they had the choice between Cardiff, Man United and Arsenal. And this was only 5 million. It wasn't a lot of money. But Man United were going to pay in installments. And Cardiff said, well, Arsenal's giving us the money up front now. And Arsenal had done that for a long time. It's not really been common business for Arsenal to pay in installments. But I made a big thing about Liverpool this summer, I went out and said on the 1st of July, the first day of the transfer market, Liverpool won't buy anybody. And that's because agents have told me that their installments have come to collect. And there is a lot of money that they had in lieu over years, which needed to be paid off this summer. That took a huge bite out of their transfer fee. Jurgen Klopp even came out a week after I made my video and said, don't expect much from us. And even down to transfer deadline, Liverpool did nothing. And guys, teams have been using this practice for a long time. So it doesn't matter the fact that Arsenal are doing this now. They've adopted different personnel in the front office. This is the way the game's played. All Arsenal have done is caught up to where everyone else is in regards to business relations and transfer negotiations. That's all it is. It's nothing new. It's best practice for most teams. And all that we've done is just play catch up to the point where we are on a level playing field. And this is good because it speaks of ambition. Now, ambition is the next thing that we need to talk about. Josh Kroenke has specifically said in that second half in Baku, they realized they had to change their plans. They realized they had to change their focus. Now, granted, I've always known that they've had an extra 520 million to spend over 4 years with the stadium rights and the new Adidas deal. But the difference between Gazidis was Gazidis actually told us our budget was 120 million, which we adhered to. These guys are not telling us anything outside of, and I've quoted this many times, Vinay specifically said we will spend every single penny that we earn on our commercial business and reinvest it in a club. Now, whether that doesn't have a figure tied to it or not, all you need to understand is that the man is committed to his word. That's what he said. What did we go and do? We went out and we spent more money than anybody else. So this tells you that these guys ain't playing around. This also comes back to Josh Kroenke saying he'd love for you to trust him now, but that's a hard thing to do when you don't even know the guy. So he understands he has to earn that trust. And boy, he's earning it. Not only did he come out and say he has to work hard in earning our trust, he's also come out and said we're going to be very aggressive in the January market. Guys, this is what it looks like in order to have the turnaround that we need. We have a good thing going right now, and these owners are committed. I'm a strong backer in Van Persie. Henry, Fabregas, Vieira, these guys all love the club, and they all left without telling us the reasons why. They all went on to win titles with other teams, which is what Van Persie did. He did no different than what they all did. The difference is he uncovered the truths about the front office. And guess what? He was hated for it. I never understood that. It didn't quite sit well with me when the fan base is saying, oh, I'll never forgive Van Persie. The other Arsenal legends did it. They did it too. The only difference is this guy exposed the front office for what they were doing. He said specifically, I told them to invest in the club, be ambitious, go out there and buy the likes of Tevez and all these other players to make us winners. And they didn't want to do it. So Van Persie did something that Alan Shearer, Matt Letizia and all them others who decided to stay with their teams, he decided to do something that they didn't. And that was the same as what Fabregas, Henry and Vieira did. Leave, go to a club with more ambition, and then win a title. And that's what he's done. So how on earth can we vilify him for something like that is beyond me. Every sportsman and woman should be ambitious enough to win titles and succeed. Very rarely will you get someone who sacrifices winning to stay with the club that they love. And Van Persie wanted to stay. There's no doubt about that. There's only one person who should be blamed for that deal, and that's Arsene Wenger. He should have never had sold him to Alex Ferguson, but that's another conversation altogether. The bottom line is this, guys. Josh Kroenke is here and he wants to be successful and he loves the club and he's as passionate about Arsenal Football Club as you and me. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to leave it right there, guys. And listen, it's going to be positive for us in the future. We're on the up. And you guys know this is a positive YouTube channel. I don't talk about anything in regards to ranting, putting down this club. because I love this club. I love Arsenal Football Club. Yes, I'll be real with you, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm going to hate anybody. We don't have a God-given right to win the title. We don't have a God-given right to win. What we want as fans, what I want and what you should want, is the fact that your club is willing to compete and that they're ambitious. And Arsenal on those fronts are. And that's all from me. Right back at you guys. Peace out.